This is Robert Kraft coming to you live on SNNLive, and we're here at the LD Micro Main Event 2015 in Bel Air, California. With me right now is Dr. Kanaan Jemili from NeuLion, NLN on the TSX. Dr. Jemili, welcome to SNNLive.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
It's great to have you. So for our audience that may not know about NeuLion, let's get an overview of the company.
Sure. So NeuLion is a video streaming platform company that has been around for almost 10 years now and has been expanding worldwide with major brands to carry their broadcast of events and video streaming around professional sports. We have customers like the NFL, the NBA, MLS, UFC, but also broadcasters like Univision and Rogers and others around and now growing around the world.
Okay, so this reminds me of one of my favorite shows is Silicon Valley and Pied Piper. So, you know, this is sounding kind of like that. So maybe let's get into the technology a little bit more.
Sure, absolutely. So we at NeuLion we have half the company is actually our engineers and innovators in this space, and Silicon Valley is a good example of a startup environment where you innovate constantly and you're looking for the next frontier to go for. So, for instance, we have if you pick up today any device, you probably have our apps are running on those devices, either the Amazon Fire, the iPad, Chromecast, and so forth. And if you're into sports, you have several destinations from us to actually do that. We have several, we have Game Pass, for instance, for the NFL, where if you're living outside the U.S. today, you can be watching on an iPad 4 games at the same time. That's innovation. That's something we pride ourselves in doing. If you're watching the Australia Open these days, on Tennis Channel, you're probably watching it from our services. And our engineers, our innovators, they actually are building the whole value chain and innovating in them, both from encoding the content to packaging that content, protecting it, building the applications that are very appealing on an Xbox or a PS4 or any device that you can see, and then showing the best experience in how to interact with the content, how to enjoy the content, how to really bring content alive in many ways. And this is really what keeps us really excited every day, going back and to our customers and really leveraging our customers to actually build even more exciting things.
Okay, so my next question is actually a two-part question because it's kind of related, and it's with regard to the business model and then also the implementation of the technology. So firstly, with regard maybe to the NBA or to the MLB, is it you license your technology, and then the second part is your team then running the stream for when there's a game on, for instance?
Sure, thanks. That's a good question. On the our main business model is really around licensing our platform, meaning there's a license to use our platform to stream this content, and as well as we have as there are subscriptions or there's usage of content on our platform. That's also how we monetize our agreement with our partners. And then I think these kind of licensing is evolving in time. So every year we have, for instance, today we have this year we did a 4K, the new innovation, beyond high definition. We're doing 4K streaming, which is actually very exciting. So as we roll in new technologies and new innovation, obviously we have to renegotiate some of those licenses with our customers. Gives our customers advantage in terms of getting the latest technology for their services, and also brings out some growth to our business as we go forward.
So, one of my favorite sports that I watch online, and the only way you can, is surfing. It's all internet streaming. Yeah. And what I'm curious is about it, I want to know about the market landscape, using that as an example. Sure. There's other sports, and, also there's big political events. I'm sure that's something that you guys are looking at, right?
Absolutely. So actually, surfing is a very good example, and I actually joined the company early this year. And my first encounter with a new opportunity was around what's called the World Surfing League, which is a new league that's just got formed a couple, 2 years ago, and they own all the rights for surfing events around the world. And they came to us in January. They were actually online with their apps in about 6 to 8 weeks, which is very fast for a customer. So what happens with the sports is really there's rights to broadcast the sports, and as long as we have a company that owns those rights, then they need a platform to stream that content. That's where we come in. And this is really, surfing is a great example. They started on YouTube and doing some their own websites, but then they wanted a platform that they can actually use and then focus on getting new customers, getting new marketing, and focus on their events, which are really spectacular. I mean, if you look at WSL apps from NeuLion, and there's always 14 events a year, big events. So you can actually every 2 weeks, 2 3 weeks, there's a new event. It's spectacular, and
there's a contest on today, actually.
Exactly. So, and I'm actually going to be watching it right after. Actually, the company is here in LA. So that's one example. And as we see, other leagues or other associations that they basically they have enough of an audience so that they want to reach. Then they need a service to broadcast those events, or and so forth. We also have at NeuLion, we have what's called the self-serve portal for things like you said, political events or churches or other venues where they want to broadcast their content. We actually have a self-serve portal where they can sign up and they very easily get their videos and content to their audience as they see fit. So we have basically from professional sports all the way to self-serve events, and we cover the whole gamut.
So one more question was also about the competition, because I remember there was a time, as you even just said it, I've been watching World Surf League and ASP for a long time, and they used to do it on YouTube. Yeah. So how do you compete with YouTube? What was it about your technology that made them switch from that platform to yours?
So YouTube, they obviously we all use YouTube. It's the big content provider for everyone in the world. But if you have goals like monetization of your content, and also to have a special experience. For instance, we have if you look at the NHL, experience from NeuLion, or the NBA experience, they're very specialized. So if you're a basketball fan, you're looking for certain things when you're watching in a certain game, and whether it's clippings, whether it's rewinds of a certain sequences, whether it's scores that you want to see. YouTube may not give you all that, but so most of these leagues, they'll go for a specialized experience where the fan finds what they want and what they need when they're watching the game. And I think that's where people come to NeuLion for. There is competition out there. I mean, we're not the only company, but we are the only company that actually specializes in professional sports and live sports. We did last year, 2014, we did about 50,000 events, and this year we'll do more. 2015, we'll get the numbers out. So we actually have this 8 to 9 year, 10 experience in really specialized experiences in professional sports, and now more and more in entertainment and also broadcasting.
So for our audience, what's your background?
My background is actually engineering. I have a doctorate in electrical engineering. Did a lot of work on audio innovation, then video innovation for some time. And then I became an executive about maybe 7, 8, 9 years ago, more on the management side. But at heart, I'm an engineer. I'm about innovation. What's the next? What's missing in the world that we can fix, and we can build the next thing. And I think having that as a CEO, having the background, the technical background, gives me a lot of understanding of what we're trying to do and achieve.
So for our audience to go and find more information about NeuLion, where should they go?
Our website, NeuLion.com, NeuLion.com.
So my name is Robert Kraft, and we're coming to you live on SNNLive, and we're here at the LD Micro Main Event 2015 in Bel Air, California. With me again has been Dr. Kanaan Jemili from NeuLion, NLN on the TSX. Dr. Jemili, thank you so much for coming on.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.